Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be making another from Pinterest diagram outfit. This is for my personal Valentine's Day outfit, but if you've seen this dress online, I printed this out from Pinterest, and there's the Instagram watermark of whoever made this diagram. I really like this dress. I thought it was really pretty, so I'm going to do it with a few changes. In a previous video, I had mentioned like updates what I was doing, and I talked about how I had chosen this goldish honey tone, I guess, crushed pan velvet, which I thought would be great because it's much easier to just work with something that's not so stiff, and it, you know, stretchy stuff is forgiving, you know what I'm saying? And then also, if you could see here, there's like a belt. What I'm choosing to do is I got this from the trim section. So I'm going to make this with the belt, and then on the end of the belt, I'm going to have these matching tassels. So that's what I'm going to do. If you've seen my previous videos, I'm going to go through this one a little quick. Not too quick, but not as slow as previous ones. Hopefully you've been watching them and kind of learning how to do this. So I'm going to link in the description the Pinterest link to this picture, because I printed it out, but you know, it gets a little blurry because it's obviously not like a high res photo. So as you can see here, let's look at the diagram. Look at this whole thing right here. It's showing you that this is a large rectangle, and then this is an extension that comes out. So that's kind of how I've explained it. You know, making patterns is like a general shape, a square, a rectangle, and then you're just kind of shaping it with your dimensions and lines and curves until it comes out to like a pattern. So here, I don't know if you could see at the top. So here's the top of the rectangle. This says from here to here in the rectangle is 26 centimeters. The shoulder is 6 centimeters wide. The top of the angle of the shoulder to the armhole, it says this is 18 centimeters. From the top of the shoulder to the torso, which is what this line right here is, your waistline, the torso. It says from the top of the shoulder to the torso, that is 25 centimeters. Now, these numbers will change according to your measurements. So what I would suggest that you take, and we will be making the sleeves as well on this dress, is to take your bust, your bust, your waist, torso, hip, armhole, your neck hole, and then the measurements from your neck hole inside towards the ball of your shoulder, so you can get this width right here that's adjusted for you. Of course, your sleeve length, I always measure it from the top of the ball, or the edge of the ball of the shoulder to the end of like your wrist or wherever you want the sleeve to end. Obviously, your overall length, so from the top of the shoulder to the bottom of where the hem hits, that would be your overall length. And I think that's it. And then from just going off this diagram, it says the whole entire length is 135 centimeters. Or is it 235 centimeters? See, that's why it's so hard to see on this one. Maybe if you pull up the Pinterest diagram, it'll show the numbers a little more clear. Just some more breaking down of this diagram. To me, I mean, obviously by the diagram, it is 2 pieces for the front and back. So I'm assuming, or what I'm going to do, because I have to assume that this, and you can definitely tell here, not assuming, but you can definitely tell here that this is cut on the fold. So like, I would have cut it on the fold anyways, because I wouldn't have liked, or what do you call it? A seam in the middle of my dress, especially for something like this. So yeah, you cut that on the fold, and I'm putting the little symbol there. So you would do that for front and back. So you have 2 pieces for your front and back, and then your 2 sleeve pieces. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started right now with my personal measurements, and you can watch me shape the rectangle as I go. I have my measurements. If you can see way in the corner, I kind of started out my little rectangle. I'm only gonna do partial rectangle because I don't want to completely dry out my markers. Just, it would be not good. So going by the diagram, let's go ahead and, you know what, let's also get the measurements from the top of your shoulder to where your armhole starts. So which is like, let me show this to you. So it'll be, where are we? So from top of the shoulder to where the armhole starts, which is also aligned like with your bust area. This line right here, that's your bust. So let me get this measurement from here to here. That's for myself. Let me do that real quick. Okay, so that's 12.5 for me. I'm gonna switch back to inches just because I'm sure this diagram is made for a really small, petite person, and I am not a small, petite person, so I have to do it to my stuff. But I mean, try it out. I don't know, make a mock-up of it, see what size it is. I'm gonna assume that's like a size 4 or something like that. So on me, from the top of my shoulder to where my armpit kind of starts, aligned with the bust, for me that's 12.5 inches. So I'm gonna go from the top of this line of the rectangle, so I got 12.5 inches. And I do apologize, I'll be going back and forth between my black and brown marker because my black one is drying out. But I do want to make sure you guys can see it. Let me try and make that line a little darker for those trying to view it. So this, we'll call this the bust line, okay? This will be the bust. Now that's not my bust circumference, it's just the bust line. I hope everyone can see that. Try to do it as dark as possible. I'll come in on a zoom right now too. So now that I have that, oh, and one other thing, oh my gosh. See, this is the worst channel ever. Let's also get your back measurement. Back measurement is from like shoulder to shoulder in the back. Yeah. Or if it's hard for you, another way, a better way to get it is like from the top of the armpits, like from the back. See how much that is. I just like doing it from shoulder to shoulder just because I'm so broad shouldered, like it doesn't help me. Okay, so my shoulders, my back is 17. And for me, that just works better for broad shoulder people. I do it the more proper way from the back of the armpits on the back for thinner people, and that works out. But just for bigger people, I don't know, that change up seems to work a little bit better on the fit for me, in my case at least. Okay, so my back is 17. So the top line of my little rectangle, I'm going to measure out 17. Or since we're doing this on the fold, whatever is half of your back. Usually I do the whole thing. I usually don't do stuff by the fold. So half of that, that's 8.5. So I'm gonna make my marking at 8.5. So from here to here is 8.5, and that's my back. Remember, we are cutting on the fold. The international symbol for cut on the fold is right there. In case you forgot, That's what we're gonna do. That's my back. Now this will be the point where you did the edge of the shoulder, like on your back, that I just chopped that number in half. From now, here, what I'm gonna do is what I'm calling like that shoulder measurement, which is like from your neck hole to the edge of the shoulder. So for me, that's 5.5. So I'm gonna align this little notch I put here with 5.5. And then I'm gonna mark it over here. So I know from here to here, this is where it'll rest on my shoulder. And then from here to here, and of course it's cut on the fold, so just visualize this continuing, that will be the neckline. Now just to refer back to the diagram, it says here that the 90-degree angle that's up here, what's left over after mapping out your shoulder, that it says here that is 7.5 centimeters. So let's flip back to centimeters. We'll see how this works out. So I'm gonna go 7.5. Oh, it's already, whoa, crazy. I know, right? What a coincidence. And then down is 14 centimeters. So let's see, so I'm gonna make a notch. 14 centimeters is right here. Can you see that? Let me just look in the camera. So what a coincidence. Okay. So this is what I'm doing. So this is where my shoulder rests. And then there's this blank space right here. But according to the diagram, this is 7.5 centimeters. And this is just, I referred back to the diagram so that way I can get the right neck line that's the same way as the photo. And this is 14 centimeters down. So you'll see here, okay? So now what I'm going to do is just curve it. Sometimes if it's really curvy, I'll get like the edge of like a paper plate and I'll just use that to help me curve it. So that's what that's gonna be the neck hole. And remember, it's only partial of it right now because everything is going to be cut on the fold. So let's continue. So I got that taken care of. Oh, and make sure you also have your paper scissors. Actually, my paper scissors are getting so shitty right now. Like, they're getting so dull. But I'm gonna use them until I can't use them anymore because I'm stubborn like that. Also, let's see. It says here it's 1.5 difference in the shoulder. So let's copy that. So on the edge, remember this is the edge of my shoulder where I marked it. I'm going to go down 1.5 centimeters right here. And with your straight edge, meet that marking with the other side of your shoulder marking just where the neck hole line begins. Okay? Okay, and then armhole measurement. I don't know, I've said this a few times in other tutorials. Armhole, it can differ for many people. Mine's usually about 20. I don't know. Mine changes because I'm like gaining weight and I lose weight, gain weight. So mine's 18. So if you cut 18 in half, that's 9. So from here, let's see, so from the shoulder notch area, I'm gonna go down 9 inches. That's for me. Yours may be different. Okay. So right there. Let's see. I'm noticing a difference. It's okay, we'll work with it. So I'm just gonna go with that. So now we're gonna try and like blend this. If you have one of those French curved rulers, that would be very helpful right about now. So there I am. Okay, everything's looking fine so far. Let me just measure this real quick. Let me see what's going on. Okay, it's fine. I'll adjust. Remember, we always have a fitting. Okay, so let's continue. You might be a little confused there, and I'm thinking, did I move right now, or when I was measuring my top to my armpit starting? But we'll continue. So now I need to know where my torso is. Okay, so let's get the torso. So my torso is 20 inches from the top of the shoulder, which I'm going to go back to the black line, the top of the shoulder, that line. And I'm going to measure down 20 inches. I'm going to get my straight in so everyone can see. Remember, this is going to be your measurement. So unless you're my exact same shape and size and everything, then yours might be a little bit higher, it might be a little bit lower. Don't freak out if it's not looking similar. I'm just kind of giving you a guideline right now. So this line right here, this will be my waist. That's where my waistline lies, my torso. So this will be my natural waistline. So right now I'm just kind of like mapping everything out. And then once I have all this part done, because I still need to get, I'm going to get my hip in here just to make sure. Then I'm going to come back and measure out exactly in half how much, like my bust divided by 2, my waist divided by 2, my hips divided by 2. So normally for most, and this kind of works for me too, from where the waist starts and your hip bone starts, that's about 7 inches. And that is true to me. You might want to check that on yourself, but that's pretty standard for most people. So I'm going to go down from the waistline, I'm going to go down 7 inches. Okay? I'll line it up. Make your line. And this will be your hips. Okay? So that's what we're dealing with right now. Okay. Now that we have these lines mapped out, we got to get how wide it's going to be. Okay? So my bust is 41. Okay? We're not going to do the whole 41 because then you'll end up with a massive, massive piece of paper. And that's not right. So since we're cutting this in half, well, actually it'd be by 4, because normally if it was one whole front piece, then I would cut it by 2. But since we're doing on the fold, by 4. So where am I? 41. Let's see, 41. It's 21 or 20, 20.5. Okay, now we're going to half that again. 20.5 is what? 10.25. So from the edge of this black line that we made, remember we were doing the little rectangle? I'm going to put the edge of the tape here, and I'm going to find 10.25. Ow. Okay. And then I'll just make a little marking there, so I know right now when I start connecting the dots, that's where I have to start joining the lines. My waist is 35. Okay. So you know how right now I was like, what's going on with this curved line? I was like, what's going on here? Well, yeah, duh. I forgot that I need to make my notch where my bust line actually ends up on this piece. So right now, just real quick before we go on to the waist, I'm just going to blend this line with that. Okay, so that's fixed. That explains a lot. Duh, Sarah. Okay, so let me adjust this again. Okay, I hope everyone can see my lines. Let me move all this crap out of the way. Okay, so we have the bust, now the waist. Waist is 35. So if we were doing a whole piece, it would be 17 and a half. But I'm going to do it one more time. And that is 8, it's coming out to 8.75-ish on this metric ruler tape here. So I'm going to put a little notch right there. Here, I'll put a little star so everyone can see. Hips. We're going to go to the hips. My hips are 41. So if you divide that by 4, I don't have a calculator except for the one on my phone, but my phone's my camera, so yeah. Put the edge of the tape on the black line that you use to make your rectangle. And then I'm just gonna go over here, make a little asterisk so you all can see. That's what's up. Now, let's go ahead and connect the dots before we refer back to the diagram. Because I do want to follow the measurements on how it flares out, because I do want this silhouette. I definitely want to copy the silhouette. So I'm going to refer back to the diagram in a moment. But now that I have all these little asterisks, let me go ahead and connect the dots. So I'm going to go connect the dot here. And I'm going to connect the dot here. Okay. It's a little harsh right here, so I'm just going to kind of soften it. There we go. When I cut that out, it won't be as sharp. Okay, so if you refer back to your diagram, it says, what's this? That the bottom flare of it is 52 centimeters across, and then there's a pickup. I don't know if you can see here, if you refer back, if you can print this out online from the thing, there's a pickup of, let me look at that, what does it say? I believe that's 9 centimeters. So there's a pickup of 9 centimeters from the whole, at the end of the 52 centimeters, when you're measuring this way, there's gonna be a pickup of 9 centimeters. And then that's the flare. So I have to do an extension because my table is shorter than me, but I'm still gonna go ahead and do that. Okay, voila, I made my extension with ghetto grocery newsletter stuff, but hey, it works. Okay, so now I have the full 60 inches that my length, for my custom length is. So now I'm going to measure in centimeters because I'm going to refer back to the diagram. From left to right, I'm going to measure 52 centimeters, and let me see what's up. Like where is that? Okay, so 52 centimeters is right here. Okay, and then remember at the end of our 52 centimeters, there's a pickup of 9 centimeters, or so it says in the diagram. Or at least that's what I can see. So if you see this line that I've drawn, so here's the 52 centimeters with the 9 centimeters up. And then I'm just going to blend this curve. And then from this edge, I'm going to match it all the way up to my hip. And then I'm gonna blend it so it kind of looks like the diagram. So let's go ahead and try that out right now. That should work just fine. So I'm going to blend it just back into the edge of the paper. So that, how is that? That looks, their line's a little crisper. Okay, so that's that now. Remove all this. I'm going to match the edge of that 9cm pickup point to where my hip line is. And then we have our front and back pieces for the dress. You see? Can you dig it? And again, tip, major tip, if you didn't see my one video about, oh my God, freaking wrapping paper is the best pattern paper on earth. Look at how awesome this is. Like, if I need to adjust it, I just pull it and, oh, I love it. Okay, so let's do the sleeve and then we can cut our fabric. Now to help guide, this guides me too. I also made just a straight line at the top. You can't really see it, only I can see it right now. But that's just to help me guide when we're doing like the top of the shoulder for the sleeve. So now that we have our guide, let's figure out the what do you call it? The length. So my sleeve length is 25 inches. So I'm just gonna come here. Again, yours may differ. And I'm just gonna do a long freaking line here. Just for guidelines. Don't worry about if it's too ridiculously long. And then just so I don't have any extra paper, I'm gonna cut this bottom part off. We're not gonna need it. There's no other measurements happening below this line because that's the end of your sleeve, the hem of the sleeve. So you can do that if you're running out of space. Now here I'm gonna leave it up because I might extend on the top because sometimes when you do that ball, you might go a little bit over when you're trying to smooth out the curves. So now that we have that, oh, also I do want to mention I'm making a slight change on the sleeve. I do want them kind of like, how would you say, not bell, like bell sleeve, like dolman sleeve, I guess you'd say. I'll look it up right now, but I want it to be kind of like poofy at the wrist where extra fabric hangs over. So I am going to make the end of the sleeve kind of flared, and then I'm going to shrink it back down later on when we sew with elastic that's the same measurement as my wrist. So you'll see what I mean when I get there. Other than that, you know, if you want it the same width, then I would suggest maybe an inch or two bigger than your natural waist wrist measurement for the end of the sleeve. But you'll see my change up on it when we get there. Again, so we're going to do the top of the sleeve. So just double check your armhole. I'm going to increase mine to 21 inches. I think that's what I said earlier, right? That can always be corrected in fitting, but. So real quick, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, so I have, what is this, 21 inches. So I'm just going to make a notch at the halfway point, which is 10.5. And again, that little notch right there is just helping me keep things symmetrical as I go. So we're gonna make a hump here, like a camel's hump, but that whole, you know, perimeter of this camel hump has to equal my armhole measurement, or else when we put the sleeve into the dress, it might be too small or it might be too big. Of course, if it's too big, you just kind of take it in. If it's too small, well, then you'll have to take in the actual dress. And then things start changing sometimes for the worst, pretty much. That's how it goes. So let's do that. Oh yeah, And for the sleeve real quick, measure your bicep, which is this. I always like to measure that so I know how wide. And again, it just helps keep things symmetrical and just helps me along. So I'm gonna say 16, that's fine because this is like a loose fitting dress. So 16, I'm gonna put, that's my bicep, so I'm gonna half it. So 8 in the middle, here are my 2 lines. So there it is. So that's 16, but we need, so this is 16 across, but we need to make this 21 inches. So that's where the little camel hump comes in, okay? So 16, 20, 20. So let's try and increase this right here at our halfway point by 4 inches. And then I'm just going to create my little camel hump. See how I'm doing that? And it's just kind of like, now I'm just gonna measure it. I'm gonna get the perimeter from the edge, and I'm just gonna slowly work my tape around this camel hump so I can make sure that it gets me to 21 inches. Okay, right now I'm at 18 and a half. So I'm going to increase. Let's see, I'm gonna go up by an inch at the top of that. So let me go ahead and make my camel hump again. Oops, that's a crappy camel hump. Hold on. So let's remeasure the new line that I made because I increased it by 1 inch from the top of my original camel hump. Okay, now I'm at 19.75. Let me do it one more time. Increase it by an inch. Remeasure. Boom. There it is. Okay. So you can kind of see, let me zoom in here. So you can kind of see where I was doing it and then I would measure it and it wasn't enough. So I just kind of kept increasing it by an inch until the whole hump equaled 21 inches. So that'll fit into the armhole when I sew my 2 pieces of my dress together. So I'm going to draw a line now just to keep things symmetrical where that half notch is. What was that? Okay, so there's my halfway point. So see how I'm just making quadrants? Now, like I said, I do want it to be kind of flared at the bottom. So I'm going to take my my wrist measurement. Goodness, okay, 7. I'm going to increase that to 10 because I want it to be kind of bell shaped in a way. So I want it to be 10. So at this line right here that I halved it, I'm going to put my 5-inch mark right there. Make a mark at the edge, make a mark at 10 inches. And then from those 2 markings, I'm going to join my lines, connect the dots, you know what I'm saying? So there's that. And there is that. And then I'll just clean this up later. See, I freaking love gift wrapping paper. So here will be my sleeve with my changes on it. So that's what your sleeve should more or less look like. And then here's, I cut out the dress one. So you're gonna cut 2 of your dress pieces on the fold, okay? This will be the folded part, and then over here will be like the open part of the fabric. And then just put them together. I'm going to sew them off camera. I hope you've seen enough of my videos or other tutorials to know how to match up everything to put your dress pieces together. And then I'll show you some things about how to finish like the, what do you call it? The neckline. You can't just leave it raw. I'm gonna have to put like a bias tape or a facing in there, which I will come to. I'll do that when I come to it. Also, I'll show you how to put in the elastic in the sleeve if you plan on doing what I'm doing. So yeah,